What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network Return of the Knicks podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. We got some breaking news. We had to come out. Couldn't wait for the season to start for the or training camps when it comes to the Knicks related. I just had to jump on, make an emergency pod. Here it is. Breaking news: Minnesota Timberwolves are nearing a deal to trading Karl-Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, and a deal that includes Julius Randle, Donte DiVincenzo, some picks. My instant reaction, I mean, I'm doing a watch along for wrestling, and I see the breaking news on Twitter X, and I said I have to come on and give my thoughts, at least my momentary reaction, without getting the details of the trade. And it's not finalized. They're in talks. They're going to need a third team for some money. There's some cap issues where you can't send more money or take on more money when you're a certain threshold in the cap. But I wanted to give my thoughts on reaction. I was looking forward to this season with the Knicks. I'm still am. We know the Villanova Knicks, all the wonderful accolades with getting all four members of the Villanova Knicks team, college teammates about to play. I was so enamored and so excited with the possibility of seeing DiVincenzo, Hart, Brunson, and Bridges all on the same court, and it feels like the Knicks on paper. Some people might get excited for it. Some people might not like it. That's why it's an instant reaction. I have to see how it transfers on the floor, but I kind of wanted to see the way the Knicks were constructed, the way it was, and I understand with the news of Mitchell Robinson not returning until December, possibly January, hampers the Knicks' chances with paint protection. A big man losing Harkenstein in the offseason hurts. Question marks with Jericho Sims. Is he ready? Is he ready to be a backup center? Not able to get another center in here. And I understand where Karl-Anthony Towns brings his numbers, the numbers that he provides on the back of his baseball card, like they like to say. It's phenomenal. But does it fit the New York style, the New York Knicks style? I understand we're not in the league where we have the traditional centers, but Tom Thibodeau still likes to coach and likes to play where you guys who's going to rebound and defend the paint. And I don't if Karl-Anthony Towns is he known for his defensive prowess? Some people might say a little lazy on the defensive end. There were some past issues with Thibodeau and Karl-Anthony Towns. Listen, all things changes. Get motivated out of Minnesota, although Minnesota's been trending upwards with Anthony Edwards and company, to come back home to the tri-state area, back home, his stomping grounds, a kid out of New Jersey, but I'm pretty sure he was a Knicks fan growing up, seeing how this city is enamored with the centers, like a Patrick Ewing, one of the greatest centers of all time. He knows there's a lot of shoes to fill. Is he ready for that task? Is he ready for that responsibility? Is he mature when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns to come in here? And he comes with a hefty price tag around his neck. I'm pretty sure if you ask Minnesota's core fan base, they're going to be excited, happy. They get him off the team. Him and Rudy Gobert didn't seem like that fit well, didn't work well. Maybe that's where they're moving from it, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. I wasn't a big Julius Randle fan. But I kind of wanted to see what Julius Randle would have looked like with this team. And I know people will say, well, you're one of those guys that don't want the team to trade no one. No, you could make trades. You want to improve the team. You want to make trades to bring moves that make sense, to upgrade the team. And you could say in a nutshell, this might help the team because you're bringing an all-star center forward where Randle isn't a center. And I was going to wait for training camp. And I wanted to bring on some folks to help me on and just have a round table discussion. When I was looking before this trade even happened, I was contemplating the upcoming Knicks season that was about to take place, and I was saying to myself, "Damn, they're asking a lot of Julius Randle." I know Randle, and again, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not a big Julius Randle fan, but I wanted to say was with Randle, you're asking Randle to now move position again. Not, you brought him in here as a second consolation prize. You didn't get Kevin Durant, you didn't get Kyrie, you didn't get that plan that you had. You brought in Randle. Randle turned his help along with Tom Thibodeau, and of course the front office helped change this narrative of this franchise. He 3-time All-Star. You saw the increase. We saw the ups. We saw the good, the bad, and the ugly with Julius Randle as wearing the Knicks uniform. Then he got injured. You're seeing Brunson becoming the captain and the fan base gravitate over Brunson and seeing the love affair that we have for Brunson. Rightfully so. He went out there and proved it. Then your Randle, the ego. Not that I'm not saying he has an ego. Don't misinterpret what I say. People have that. We all have that ego. Like, damn, I'm not the top notch star on this team. Now I'm injured. The Knicks still made a successful playoff run, like it or not, without him, with him, vice versa. Now you're asking him to move out of position to possibly play the center position. You're asking a lot, and that was the question going into training camp. Is Randle going to fall in line like a great soldier? And now you're asking him to play center in a position that he might be undermanned, overmatched height-wise and rebound-wise because you can't keep Mitchell Robinson healthy, and the question mark of Jericho Sims. And look, Hartenstein, no matter what, with the salary cap, they tried, they just couldn't fit it in. Now you bring Karl-Anthony Towns, who's going to give you another question mark, where Minnesota fans is kind of trading one Minnesota's kind of unappreciative headache for New York's unappreciative player. I don't think Randle was a headache. No way, no how. I think he was a model citizen. Did he frustrate us with the ball handling? That's basketball stuff. That's not outside of the world of the NBA. He was a good player. If he leaves the Knicks, you know what? He helped us turn this franchise around. I'm still trying to process what the team looks like with a Karl-Anthony Towns. Is he going to hamster the Knicks cap-wise to bring players? Right now, look, this roster's stacked. If you look at this Knicks roster up and down, the current roster we stand right now, with or without the trade, they're stacked. The Knicks have deficiencies in the center position without the Karl-Anthony Towns. We get it. But if you start looking at the NBA right now, the way constructed now, the way it's played, I mean, you still have Joel Embiid to deal with. But with Joel Embiid is his health. If Joel is healthy, he's going to be an issue for the Knicks if they go into postseason. But then you have a Mitchell Robinson. You have a Mitch if he comes back healthy in the middle of the season. The defending champions, Boston Celtics, with Porzingis shooting the three, shooting there. I guess they want to match up with the Celtics. I mean, why not? You want to beat you want to mimic the world champions who pretty much day one for that reason. They're a heavy wing oriented team with Porzingis shooting the threes and not much. When you think of Porzingis, I don't think of him protecting the paint as much. I just see him stretching the floor, and I think the Knicks want to use that. They want to evolve with the Boston Celtics type of mantra of spreading the floor, shooting the three, having the center be capable of hitting the three at all times when the shot is open, especially the way Brunson penetrates there, and you have Bridges who could work, and you have Anthony Towns on the outside wings who could shoot the three and pull the center from not protecting the rim is an advantage the Knicks, especially with the slashing and moving with an OG Anunoby. Interesting move there. Right now, I'm just more of totally, again, puzzled or shocked. It's in the shock value. It's in the shock value to see the possibilities. When Mitchell Robinson returns, that's another question. I guess they worry about that bridge, and rightfully so. When Mitchell Robinson is healthy, is he going to be happy coming off the bench when you have a Karl-Anthony Towns on this team? Is he going to be comfortable with that? If you're the Knicks front office, I don't think they care about that right now. They care about their shelf life. First and foremost, the coach's shelf life. Everything in pro sports has a shelf life. I'm not saying Tom Thibodeau could be ending his shelf life as a head coach. The message. Also, the front office. How much patience does the owner Dolan has with this front office. Yes, and for us as Knicks fans, we're at least myself speaking. I'm going to talk about myself. I'm happy that they're competitive and they have a chance to be getting to the Eastern Conference Final for the past 3 years, 4 years under, ever since Thibodeau as the head coach and his regime. We're in contention to make some noise in the postseason. We know that April's coming along. The Knicks are going to play in April, possibly May. We're not saying, we're looking at the ping pongs. That's a breath of fresh air. And when I'm contemplating here or trying to put the right words together, we're not giving you any word salad, is for Mitchell Robinson, if he comes back, I don't think they care about his feelings right now. You got to stay healthy. We got a goal. We got a goal set, and we have a mindset to go out there and at least make an appearance in the NBA Finals with this franchise that haven't been there since 1999. They know they have an uber fan base that loves this team, that will back this team up from all types of fanfare, the merchandise, to the love. I mean, look at the podcasters that have been given birth, including myself, here covering this team. We love this team. The Garden and the front office, the brass, they know, the media, they know how much the fan base adores this team. And I think that right now, I'm not saying if you listen to the fans or you think like a fan, you end up sitting with the fans. But I think what they're doing is they're trying to get a winning team out there, pushing their chips to the middle of the table and going all in to try to win an NBA title. And right now, one thing I got to say, at least Dolan isn't afraid of paying the luxury taxes. One of the few and four owners, as much as we dislike or have a negative connotation to James Dolan as an owner, if he's something to try to win the title, he's willing to spend and invest money. He knows that people will shell out hardworking money to be at the Garden night in, night out, and sell that place out and buy merchandise and buy the popcorns and buy the meals and all the stuff that comes with the New York Knicks fan experience. And I appreciate that from the owner, allowing them to do that. It's just got to come together with chemistry, basketball IQ, and talent together, all that, and a little luck for them. What we want the Knicks to achieve is getting us. And I think if you poll the fan base, if they were to get to if they find it successful, if the Knicks make the NBA Finals this year, I think a lot of us will sign up for that now with this current roster, after pending the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. And I know I saw Berman tweeted out that this team hasn't done anything. All they do is just repeat and go into the second round. Well, Mark Berman, I got something to tell you though. When you were the beat writer writing for this team didn't even make the postseason. They were doormats. And you made a lot of money ridiculing the team and making fun out of the team for being a bad run organization. So the fact that they're in the postseason and giving us meaningful basketball and possibly second seed and fourth seed and being in the top seed of the NBA Eastern Conference, I think as Knicks fans, we take pride on that because they're not doormats. They're not laughing stocks. When you were covering the team, it took for you to retire for them to get relevant, and for you to sit there and tweet and write and say that they're only a second round team just spinning their wheels with injuries. Same story. I mean, that's why I never ask you on this show. I know maybe you say I'm never going to go on your show. You could make the rounds and be the hand-me-downs to all the other podcasters, but I will never ask you to come on because if you're going to take shots at the team after you cover for so long, I mean, then now you're taking it personal. But that's just another day for a day. We're not talking about vermin. But this Karl-Anthony Towns dynamic, I think that's it. I don't think the Knicks are going to make moves. One thing that worries me, but you could say they're going to gain another 3-point shooter as spreading the floor, but you're losing Donte DiVincenzo, who hit the most threes in your franchise history. I understand you're not getting that size. You're losing that, DiVincenzo is not tall guy either. But, man, he had a tenacity of a tough SOB. That tough SOB who rolls up his sleeve, who does the unappreciative stuff Donte does, the big ragu. He actually lived up to that name. He was very entertaining. If he does go in this trade, very entertaining player. I wish he would not leave. I guess we get enamored and we get um, connected to some of our players, some of our favorites, and I thought Dante was a favorite of one of mine's playing. And he. Hey Chris, would you like to join me? I could send you the link. Andre, how you doing? Um, I don't know how about feel this trade as we got Chris in there. I don't know about this trade, and I did this last second, Chris. I didn't know you were up on that, but I could send you the link. I'm more than happy to send. As a matter of fact, I'll put it there if anyone wants to come on up. I never really do this, but for the Knicks thing, it's a very important. This is an emergency pod, so we definitely wanted to. I wanted to give my thoughts. I want to hear what my Nick brethren, my Nick family, the Knicks, the diehards think about this. I mean, Ante is so good for us. Absolutely, Andre. That's the thing I think that bothers us or hurts us is losing Donte DiVincenzo. Um, Donte DiVincenzo leaving what he gave us, just a different tenacity of high, tough basketball high Q, along with that compliment and Jalen Brunson and Hart and the rest of the team. I don't know. See, the only time we see Karl-Anthony Towns is a few games on NBA TNT where they don't play him that much because Minnesota doesn't. It's not a market that you see him night in night out. And when we play them against our teams, the two twice a year, maybe if you catch a Brooklyn Net game, if you're in the New York tri-state area, to see what Karl-Anthony Towns gives you, we don't see his in and outs. We don't see his shortcomings. We don't see his appreciative of his game. So with Dante, we got to see him. We got to see him what he gave us night in, night out. And you could have said he probably was most improved or sixth man of the year. He could have been in one of those awards. And all we hear is the negative reputation of a Karl-Anthony Towns. Kind of worries me. Not because and he still was an all-star numbers. He puts the numbers there. He could get rebounds. He could shoot the three. But the one thing about that Karl-Anthony Towns hasn't done is elevate his team into a deep postseason run until Anthony Edwards got there. That's just a factual situation. They got, and that worries me about Karl-Anthony Towns. Talk about his psyche. He's been through a lot of different things outside of basketball court. Right now, I'm mixed reaction because Karl-Anthony Towns in a perfect world could put the Knicks over as world champions. 7-footer who could shoot the ball, rebound, and gets over 22 points a game, 22 and double, especially when you have to go up against a Porzingis, Joel Embiid. I don't think Randle could have handled Joel Embiid in the paint down low. That's the one thing. You got to, so there's positives, there's negatives, there's pros and cons when it comes to this move. And I'm still trying to get my proper, maybe I should have waited 24 hours to really let it marinate before I came on. But I had to. I said, you know what? I haven't done the Knicks thing since the final game, and I have to talk something Knicks tonight. And I saw that, and it just said, you know what? I want to go with my instant reaction. And my instant reaction is to be complete. I gotta be like Thomas. Remember Thomas in the Bible? I gotta see it to believe it. I gotta see how it looks if it's gonna work. And it's not all doom and gloom. It's not a doom and gloom. You could be positive. You could be very ecstatic. Maybe that motivates Karl-Anthony Towns. Maybe we see something out of Karl-Anthony Towns that we haven't seen. Maybe there's some maturity with Karl-Anthony Towns. He sees something. He goes, wait a minute. I see how the Knicks are trending. No nonsense, all in. Everyone on that team has elevated their game. I see how Coach Thibodeau has made the centers around him better. And if at worst case scenario when Mitchell Robinson comes back, I could slide over to power forward. I did it in Minnesota. I'm willing, and if he wants to play a big man lineup with Mitchell Robinson when healthy and Karl-Anthony Towns, now Karl-Anthony Towns could do the power forward thing. You could play the power forward position, shooting, keeping the floor spreaded, not being, it's not 5-on-3. When I mean 5-on-3, that two guys that can't shoot because they're just big oaths. I think Karl-Anthony Towns could stretch the floor. Now you got more shooters and height. And one thing I always tell you, you can't teach is height. How much times I've told, I thought the Knicks had a very disadvantage with teams like Orlando and Cleveland in the past few years because of the height disadvantage. Now they've got some height. Jericho Sims, maybe the kid doesn't have to have that much pressure on him to perform. He can still go out there and do his thing. He could still be a pleasant surprise and still evolve into what we think he is, a really good backup center in the league. There's a lot of good things there, as I want to say what's going on here to Random Phantom. Salute, guys. I haven't seen you guys here. I believe there's more negative than positive to this trade, particularly because of Randle. Okay. When I need a little more on that. I believe the more negative towards Karl-Anthony Towns, or is it a negative on the Julius Randle side? Because we just saw a couple days ago, they had a groundbreaking ceremony on Julius Randle court. They had some of the Knicks there, some of the players, Coach Thibodeau and Randle in the outside of the court was doing a lot of positive or give back stuff. I'm not saying Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't do it either, but when you're a New York star player, New York player, those things tend to be elevated or talked about more. I didn't see much of Karl-Anthony Towns, but he's returning home. If that's true, he's heading back home. Andre, this trade is definitely a huge win for Minnesota. Donte is going to help them tremendously. Absolutely, with Ant-Man, even Randle and Ant-Man. Randle still could go in, play the natural power forward position for Minnesota, where Julius could also help handle the basketball from Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert can mind the paint and play the defensive role that he needs to be, just be the defensive player of the year candidate for them in the middle, where Randle, you're bringing another 3-time All-Star to join Anthony Edwards, and you have a sharpshooter who could come in off the bench, 6-man candidate for Donte DiVincenzo. Plus, they get off of that big contract of Mr. Karl-Anthony Towns from Minnesota, where Randle will be eligible for a contract extension but he also a free agent. And if they could come off their books for Minnesota, if they want to go frugal, they don't want to sign him, or they could sign him there and he could find a home or sign and trade. It's a move for Minnesota. It is a huge win for Minnesota. And if you're Minnesota, that's a good move. You got rid of Karl-Anthony Towns, and at the end of the day, it's either Towns or Gobert. And Gobert could actually help the team more when you have a rising superstar in Anthony Edwards more than Karl-Anthony Towns, because Karl-Anthony Towns was the main guy there, and he's slowly and this is a trade. I just talked myself into saying this next point this is a trade where these two players for the respective teams were the main guy, and now they brought in some younger talent who pretty much has taken the reins as a superstar in their team. When in Anthony Edwards from Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns was the main guy there. And now for the Knicks, it was Julius Randle was the main superstar, main all-star, 1A. And the emergence of Brunson becoming that mega star now, it kind of pushing Randle as second to third option, because OG Anunoby, you saw how he played well in all this. While Randle was injured, the team kind of elevated and saw that a good play with a good chemistry without Julius. So this is interesting. They're trading for two former superstars on their respective teams now, looking to go and become the Batman or the B superstar in another organization, and having like a fresh start. So maybe psychologically it helps both players, where Randle says, I'm getting a fresh start. I'm not here to or expected to carry this franchise. I'm just here to help out and bring my all-star level, what I could bring into Minnesota and help them achieve and get paid, get the bag, where, and for New York, he got a guy who says, you know what, I'm playing back in my home city, probably his hometown team, and I'm going to do what I got to do, because now I'm in front of my home, my people. And I mean, people, just think about the New York Knicks now becoming super popular with the Dominican fan base that's in New York. Again, I like to see that as well. I think the Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be a popular jersey with a lot of Dominican residents that live in Hispanic because he is half Dominican, half African American black. For Karl-Anthony Towns, where it's going to sell jerseys. He's coming home where popularity, where there's going to be a lot, and maybe is that a good thing for him? It's going to motivate him to do good for his people. You absolutely look, and I hate to compare sports. Look at Juan Soto. And I understand he's going for a contract extension, and he's about to make, $500 million, but that's a motivation. And maybe coming home for Karl-Anthony Towns, finish the story. Winning for his hometown team, with his dad, I know unfortunately his mom passed away with the COVID, but him coming back home and winning and raising a championship banner in New York, where the team's so close at the cusp, he's the one particular player who could tip the balance and actually take the team to that level that they're looking for. So interesting there. It's a good momentarily high to Knicks are in the news, doing moves, wheeling and dealing, making a blockbuster, taking the headlines of the NBA right before camp is about to start. You make this move now. If it happens, if it's a finalized and it's agreed upon, it doesn't fall through. It still could fall through. Doesn't mean it's a finalized. They're looking for a third team to match salaries. All reports saying it's agreed in principle. We're waiting for it to be 100% official, but you do it now, right before training camp. Right before they could get in there, get practices going, work with some of the coaching staffs, be able to work with the different coaching staff. And also, this is a new coaching staff. You still got 3/4 of it, but Johnny Bryant. We'll see how this new training camp opens up for the Knicks here, where you got Karl-Anthony Towns early enough where you could get him acclimated with the remainder group with the new Knicks. You got a lot of new faces. You also got Marquise Morris. Morris is signing that backup power forward position. Says a lot too. The Knicks were stocking and bringing players, kind of dictate if you looked at it to make a move. It was crazy. And Russ in the building. What's up, my man? Russ, salute. We just traded for the fruitfulest player in the NBA. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he moves, maturity wise. Maybe he's getting older, mature wise, focused now. He's in the league. He knows how to get his body into shape. He knows time is ticking, and maybe he's not going to take for granted, and also being humble to being the second or even third fiddle on the team. In Minnesota, it was to me, it was Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert with his, defensive prowess, and then it was Karl-Anthony Towns. Maybe being humble and showing the reality, this ain't your team anymore. Someone's taking that range because you were too busy, like you said, being the fruitiest. Maybe this is a change of scenery going back home where you see how the city has gravitated to Brunson, Hart, and the Nova Knicks. Mikal Bridges, Anthony, OG Anunoby, he's not asked to be the number one star on this team. He just got to go out there and when the ball is given to you, hit your missing shots, rebound, and defend your paint. Russ says, I don't mind losing Randle though. Me and you both are on that same length. We still on that same wave pace of Randle not being here either. No, we weren't the biggest, but I kind of learned in the off season or this to appreciate Randle. I kind of wanted, and I was telling Chef Dan, I was like, I kind of want to see how this team would have looked with Randle and all the pieces they had. Then the Mitchell Robinson news came down. That's the one that bothers Russell. The one thing that really bothers me most is the Mitchell Robinson news of not returning in December. You've been on injury. We've been waiting, and I understand it's not his fault. It was an injury that happened on the court, but those injuries happen too much to his body, and you lose Harkenstein. That's the one that's where the alcohol or the peroxide on the cut hurts the most. Losing Harkenstein, because what Harkenstein gives you to pass. I think what they're trying to replicate here with Karl-Anthony Towns is that they learn how to play in the postseason without Julius Randle, they learn how to get to the second round and they're trying to get what Hartenstein gave them, a big man who could pass the ball, who could shoot, and could do a little more better than Hartenstein in Karl-Anthony Towns. They feel that under this coaching staff, Tom Thibodeau and his coaching staff could get Karl-Anthony Towns to play similar defense to what Hartenstein gave them. Now, some people are probably saying you must be bugging, Jedi. You know, I know it's Friday night, and I know you might have had a couple of Johnny Walkers in you. What you're saying right now is a little ludicrous. It might be. It might be Knicks fans. But I think, you know what? When you're a coach, you never stop coaching. You think you could coach anyone into the greatest defensive player in the NBA or bring them to another level of excellence. And that's why you make these trades. That's why you collaborate with your coaching staff and your front office and you talk about players that are available, and they have to agree and disagree. And I think this coaching staff thinks that they could coach Karl-Anthony Towns to what they got out of Hartenstein or even better, to compete with a Porzingis, to stretch the floor, to shoot the threes. You know, the NBA is changing. Brook Lopez hits threes. Brook Lopez is another one who stretches the floor. Maybe they want to see a hybrid there with a Karl-Anthony Towns. Now they got themselves a weapon that they had to defend as opponents. I think they just want to stretch big, like Celtics. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, and I'm rehashing a little because you're joining me here, so we have this conversation. Yeah, and that's what the NBA has turned into. No longer that dominant center who just rim protects, get rebounds, and that's it. And you're playing 4-on-5 basketball. You know, the Knicks they're heavy wing oriented, with McBridges, Anunoby, Hart. You know, now you bought Marquise Morris who could play and Shamet. You don't forget Miles McBride who's gonna play. They're gonna stretch the floor. They're gonna have guys who could penetrate and play the wing position. Well, you still need your bruisers. You still need the big man who can help stretch the floor, but also pull the center away, and not just have to ring protect. Now he's a threat from the 3-point land. Look at the way Miles Turner, you know, has done. I think you know, and let me ask. And I brought Miles Turner up here, and I'm gonna make a poll on that on my Twitter X machine, and possibly next time we talk Knicks. If you were in a perfect world, forget about money wise. I know that's also a big deal when it comes to the NBA is their cap and money-wise. But if you were to have a choice to fit this team, and I would have gave you Karl-Anthony Towns or Miles Turner, which player would you prefer? And let's say salary cap all equal. If I given you a choice, I don't know, and I think it'll be a 50-50 split if I poll and ask the Knicks fans that question. I think 50-50. I could see where we get a lot of votes for Miles Turner and a lot of votes for Karl-Anthony Towns. I think it'll be split. I think it'll be 50-50 with a narrow margin to certain player that you like. You know, when I mean the people that watch along and Knicks fans. And because Miles Turner will be here to rim protect. He has a lot of block shots. He can shoot the three, but he's not the scoring prowess as a Karl-Anthony Towns. Yes, there you go. See, that was we think alike. Of course, we grew up in the same building, so we think alike. Yeah, I think, you know, has more potential. Of course, Karl-Anthony Towns is an all-star. You know, but does this team need it? It all depends on the fit on the team. You know, you could have that great debate. Well, Miles Turner could bring what this because you got player A, B, and C to do what is needed, where you don't need what current. It's a great debate to have. It's a great debate to have with the Karl-Anthony Towns because he is uber talented. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason why he's making the kind of money he's making right now. Over $50 million a season. There is a reason why. It's not because of his looks. He could play. It's just the thing. The thing is, does he play well with others? And is he basketball IQ? Does his basketball IQ translate to what the Knicks are trying to do here is get to the NBA Finals? Baby steps. Or get out of the second round. Does he help them get to the conference finals? Because I think here's one thing in basketball, guys, in my opinion. Once you get past the second round, it's all a crapshoot. Eastern Conference and NBA Finals, all a crapshoot. If you get to me, it's you know what, it's the bounce of the basketball. You're playing the best of the best, and now it's the will, determination, the hard work. Anything can happen. In when it comes to the Eastern Conference and the NBA Finals. But can this move help the Knicks elevate themselves to the conference finals? As of right now, in September 27th, soon to be the 28th, I think it does. I think it does. I think it does because of like Russell says, Karl-Anthony Towns' potential. And we're going to miss Donte DiVincenzo? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because there's a chemistry with Donte and Brunson that it was instantly shown this year when he stepped floor when those guys were on the floor with Hart. There was a chemistry. And that's going to take time, which is the good part that they're doing this right before training camp so they could develop that chemistry with Karl-Anthony Towns. So I'm enjoying this conversation. I wanted to come on. I'm not going to stick on too long. I'm going to probably wrap it up. Just came off a Friday Night SmackDown watch along. To be continued. Hopefully I get a nice round table of discussion here. And we'll talk about this a little extra more time. It's not final. It's within the next 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. We will see the possibilities of Karl-Anthony Towns as a Knick and where it leads to. If there's going to be a third team involved. What's it look like? Picks. It looks like they said the Detroit #1 pick will go over to Minnesota to appease the deal. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And it's funny because we're a couple of weeks away from training camp. We're gonna be under 30 days away before the NBA tip-off season against the Celtics, Game 1, and we're gonna be back on that watch along. And it's funny because I looked at my statement. League Pass already took its money and knew I was going back to do it. So let's go. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this season goes. There'll be more to this. If anything else changes, we'll do another emergency live stream tomorrow. I wanted to get on. I want to thank everyone for joining me here. Appreciate you all. And let's see where this goes. Hope we expect the best and hope for the greatest. Remember that. I changed the lyrics. I changed it. I wasn't going to say the other things. I think the Knicks, let's go Knicks. Once the Knicks, always a Knick. Thank you, Randle. We appreciate everything you've done. If this is the last time we'll see you, or that was the last time we'll see you as a Knickerbocker. And Donte DiVincenzo, we're going to miss the big ragu. No more saucing it. And we'll see. So until next time, guys, may the sports be with you. This is the Return of the Knicks podcast here on Sports Jedi Network with BX Sports Jedi Kev, the home of your watch-alongs. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Dangerous. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out.